David Salmonsen is the Senior Director of Congressional Relations at the American Farm Bureau Federation. He said American farmers are happy negotiators reached an agreement, but they're eager to see the details.
Well, the reaction was really positive. I think everybody thought, good. All along we've been saying, we've had enough of these tariffs on top of tariffs. We never were for that in the first place. U.S. agriculture knows that when tariffs get thrown around, we're going to get hit. I mean, the retaliation goes to ag. And especially talking with countries like China, sometimes our first, sometimes our second largest export destination, over $20 billion a year. It's grown from probably just around $1 billion in 2000 to the over $20 billion a year now. It's been terrific. So we want to see that continue. So we want them to sit down, U.S. and China, get to the issues, negotiate them out, come to agreement on, and these are hard issues. They've been around a long time, we know that, but don't get back to the putting on tariffs and all the things that does, all the bad things that does for exports.
The Washington Post was out today with a story about how this relationship has changed between the United States and China. There may be a truce, but that the relationship has changed dramatically because now China worries about the uncertainty of the Trump administration. And you and I may have a great relationship. I may be buying soybeans from you, but now because of this, I'm not so sure. They're buying from Brazil, and the piece in the Post was like, look, they're buying from Brazil. They don't have to worry about any of that. What makes people think that they'll come back to the guys in Iowa? Is that a concern?
I think that is a concern. I think for something such a major crop where they buy so much of something like soybeans, and they've been buying a lot of soybeans from us for a long time. I think the thing is, those patterns are established. I mean, as far as the production, the transportation, getting to the ports, getting there across, all the financial arrangements, they've been doing this for decades. So that's really right there. And I think at some point they figure, okay, for that they'll come back. Maybe they'll have bought a little more in Brazil, but historically it was a two-country trade with China. They bought from us at our harvest time, mostly in October, starting in October, going through March. And then the Brazilian crop would come in. So they bought from them the other 6 months of the year. And it was fairly equal, what they bought from us and from Brazil. And I think they figure that that will come back. Other products, there's a lot of tariffs on a lot of ag products. And if they find a buyer somewhere else, if they're more comfortable with that, how close can they get to getting that market back, and to what extent? You may be able to sell, but will you be selling the volumes? Will premiums that may have been there in the past still be there? That's the concern. Once you lose a market, it takes time to bring it back. So that, I think, is always in the back of everybody's mind, and that's part of the reason why people in agriculture, and I'm sure all the other industries, are saying, let's try to get this taken care of and get these tariffs off as soon as we can.
In the 90 days, you think that's enough time?
In the 90 days, back with China. Yeah, in the 90 days, I think in the 90 days you establish a pattern. You establish a trading pattern, so you can, and a discussion pattern, so that you can move ahead. You can say, okay, we made progress. So maybe we need another 90 days. But you are looking forward, and you're saying, do we have a place? Have we gotten to a place where we can make future agreements? I mean, these are hard issues, and they've been around for quite a while. But in the context of what we're doing with China in this, I hope they stick to it and finally get it done.
And you're optimistic?
I am optimistic.